Lesson 8. Eighth notes. Reading 5. Exercises in dynamics. Playing the crash cymbal. The eighth notes. The next musical figure to learn is the eighth note, because it is worth an eighth. It is exactly the half of a quarter note. Therefore, to fill the amount of time occupied by a quarter note, we need 2 eighth notes. The eighth note differs from other musical notes thanks to a flag, which can link it, or not, to other notes without changing in any way the rhythmic value. In a few words, in order to play the eighth notes in a 4/4 measure, we divide each movement of time into 2, counting in this manner: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in this case, I played 8 eighth notes. There are many fingerings used to play eighth notes. Regarding single drum strokes, I'd advise you to begin playing them with the right hand, or left hand for left-handed players. In this way, you will find yourself marking the time movements with your most comfortable hand. Fingering A. Fingering B. Fingering C. Fingering D. Reading 5. Exercises in dynamics. Naturally, you will apply to reading 5 also the other ostinati we analyzed, in an absolutely gradual manner, based on the progress you have made so far. At this point, instead, we will look at further exercises for controlling the dynamics, which we will perform first with the right hand only, and then only with the left hand, and finally with both hands in single drum strokes. Exercise A. Exercise B. Exercise C. Exercise D. Exercise E. Exercise F. Exercise G. Exercise H. Playing the crash cymbal. Every piece of music has its development, whether it is a song or an exclusively instrumental piece. In particular, a song is nothing more than a story by the composer in music. And it is composed of two main parts, the verse and the refrain or chorus. In the verse, the composer develops the actual theme of the story. In the refrain, he expresses the main message that inspired the composition. It is the task of the drummer to understand the type of musical atmosphere he must create, to understand the sense of the text, and to interact with the other musicians, choosing the most suitable style for the drums and changing the sound based on the development of the musical piece, while emphasizing the most important moments. For example, the beginning, the end, the change from verse to refrain, and vice versa, and the exchange with other parts of the song. One of the most common ways of effecting this kind of emphasis consists in striking a crash cymbal. The crash cymbal is struck with the shoulder of the drumstick, which is more or less this part here on the edge, in such a way as to make it vibrate intensely, producing its characteristic tone. Now, the only device we must use when we strike it is to describe a slight curve with the drumstick in order to leave the surface of the cymbal and not remain in contact with it. A crash cymbal is rarely played alone. The latter is more likely performed with a splash, which is a smaller-sized cymbal. Instead, the crash cymbal is usually sustained by a drum, almost always the bass drum, the snare drum, the tom, or the floor tom. This is because it is played to emphasize a musical moment and impart more energy. Now I will show you some ways you can sustain a crash cymbal and, later, how to insert the crash cymbal during the execution of a first rhythm. At this point, you can begin inserting the crash cymbal in songs you are playing. Listen to them attentively and try to understand the development of the structure so that you can emphasize the points of change, as we have already stated, between verse, refrain, and so on, with the other parts of the song. Choose simple pieces. One of these songs I had my students usually play in the beginning is Io per lei by Pino Daniele, because of its clear, elementary structure. Have fun.